This is what mediocrity looks like. This is what power looks like.
I absolutely detest the bullies in town who prey and pick on the weak. But what really bothers me is people like you who just let it happen and don't fight back.
Let's go! Come on! Let's go! Yeah. Huh? See what you got. Come on. Yeah.
Hey, Doc Broxxi here, and I figured I've reviewed two big old bleak animes and I need a change of pace to spice up my dim existence and crooked posture. Ever look into the world of boxing and think, yeah, I could do this, what's the big deal? I've seen Rocky and he's alright. And then you googled the side effects of boxing and oh no.
Okay!
I'll fuck you till you love me, fat.
Well, if you're like me and like to not get early onset dementia at the age of 22, then you could watch Hajime no Ippo. Hajime no Ippo is an anime inspired by the 1989 manga by a guy named George. George got a start as an assistant to the Initial D's mangaka, Shuichi Shigeno. The anime came out in fall of 2000s through Madhouse. Although Madhouse plots are usually questionable to me, they tend to make it up with good detailed action. I get sports anime sound boring to most of you, but listen, maybe I can convince you as well to finally give sports anime a fair shake.
Okay!
Get in there and knock him out!
Hajime no Ippo starts our series off as a very kind and polite 16-year-old son of a fisherman. He's also a really good guts lookalike. Ippo's dad is dead and his mom runs the fishing business in his stead, while Ippo helps out. He struggles with bullies a lot at school because he smells like fish. Ippo is saved one day during his daily beatdown by a massive gorilla named Takamura. This pompadour-sporting fella beats the devil out of them. Ippo watched him and then passed out from his injuries. Ippo wakes up and then thanks Takamura for saving him. Takamura pushes him away because he doesn't associate with fat losers who can't defend themselves and cries like a bitch. As Ippo walks away like a jabroni, Takamura feels bad and tells him to hit this punching bag with a picture of his bully on it. After showing him how to throw a proper punch, Ippo shows how strong he is from years of working on that fishing boat. Takamura gives Ippo some VHS tapes about boxing and he takes him home. Ippo is amazed at how strong these men are, and begins to wonder if he too can become that strong. Ippo returns to Takamura after a few days and tells him he doesn't only intend to become a boxer, but to become a professional boxer as well. Takamura gets upset with Ippo for thinking he could so easily get into this world of boxing he dedicates his life so hard to. He starts shaking like a yap dog as he stands up to Takamura, stating how he wants to know what it feels like to be strong like him. Takamura begrudgingly takes aside Ippo. He tells Ippo that if he can catch 10 falling leaves before they hit the ground in 1 week, he'll bring him to the gym and start him on a career in boxing. Takamura doesn't really believe he could do it, but in the end he fights through his doubts and shows his determination. Starting from this point on, Ippo begins training under the old coach Kamigawa. Join Ippo from the ages of 16 to 20 along with his gym mates in their paths to becoming champions.
Let's get scratching.
Have you ever heard of that documentary called Jiro Dreams of Sushi? Jiro Ono, for 61 years until the age of 84 during the filming of that documentary in 2014, has dedicated his entire life to the mastery of every small process that goes into making the perfect sushi. Every apprentice he has is put to work in the same exact process Jiro has gone through his entire life. Jiro has put years of practice doing one thing until satisfactory, and then moving on to the next process and making sushi until he has achieved perfection. Although he himself is aware that perfection is impossible, the point is to keep attempting and improving, even if it is the smallest of measures. These are simple ingredients but so complex in preparation. This doesn't end with sushi. The practice of woodblock art and ukiyo-e paintings takes years to master in every step of the process. It begins with the tools, to the right measurements of adhesive to paper to woodblock, to the mixture of paint and the placement of every individual paper upon the block. If you asked me what my favorite part of Berserk was, I would have to tell you it's the turmoil of purpose.
Some view, huh?
Guts believes in his purpose among Griffith's mercenary band until he feels his purpose should be his own and not under the destiny of another, as he strives to be as good, if not better than Griffith. Guts gets lost in his training as he ponders what his purpose is and what he should fight for. He discovers that war is what he's good at, and it's all he knows. He speaks to the blacksmith Gudo, who is forging a sword, and Guts asks him,
How did you decide to become a blacksmith?
Family trade.
Do you like it?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I spent my youth desperate to forge a better sword, become a more skilled smith. Before I knew it, I was old.
The only thing that gives him satisfaction now is the sparks that he makes. Guts reflects on this, and he starts to see his satisfaction in the sparks of battle. Although Guts' motives change through what happens in the show, there is this resolve to continue practicing with his sword every day, to perfect his fighting capability, and to forge his own path. Becoming a boxer is no different. You dedicate your entire life to training, starving, dehydrating, punching a million punches, running hundreds of miles, only for some people to have 3 minutes of action, and then you might be knocked out from a blow to your head. Sometimes that hard work does make the difference, and you do go the distance. Boxing is a high price paid in battle, for a high risk of nothing. Ippo shows us the extent of what it takes to become a high-end boxer, which leads into my second point of sports anime: passion. We watch before Takamura's fights that the dude starves himself to make the weigh-in. It gets real hard to watch him suffer and fight through his hunger, but Takamura does pay the price through his resolve and endurance to become a champion. From day one after Ippo's most recent fights, he spends a few days recovering while hitting on a girl he likes. Then he begins his new regimen of training. Coach Kamigawa leads him into lessons and training in the direction he thinks he should go to improve himself for the next fight. We hear how Ippo feels about the fight, how he interacts with his opponent, what he hears about his opponent from his gym mates, as well as the reporter that comes in every so often. All the while, he's just training and training and training. We're with Ippo as he sits nervously in the back of the stadium locker room, trying to prepare himself mentally, and then he enters the ring. And we are also still with Ippo as he takes his first few punches and starts to lay into the guy, and he learns how to adapt throughout the fight. At its most basic form, this is the formula for the show, but the longer I went with these characters, the more I care about Ippo, and the more I do want to watch him become a champion. I have to admit, this is one of the few shonens that I've dropped everything I'm doing while I'm watching this show, and I just watch intently. I'm watching, and suddenly my hands are in the air, and I'm just... I do want to clarify that Ippo is quite a unique presentation for a fighting anime. It's not totally realistic, but it's based in reality, where a Naruto would learn a new technique with ninja magic. Ippo and friends perfect real-life boxing techniques accommodating to their fighting styles and overcoming their opponents. I think the sound design of Ippo is really brilliant. One of Ippo's rivals does something called a flicker jab, which is like lashing out your fist real quick. When he does in the show, it's a quick blur and they add a blade sound effect. When Ippo moves into what they call a Dempsey roll, jet engine sounds start to play, and his moves start leaving blue images trailing behind him to show how fast he's moving. Then suddenly, when the Dempsey gets into full rhythm, it's almost a mastery how the show portrays power, the tension in the air, passion in their eyes. I have to admit, I do find these kind of animes very inspiring. When I think about going the distance in my own field of editing these videos together to make something appealing for not just me, but for you guys as well, it just makes me want to improve more and more. Hell, I think I could just be happy for the rest of my life working on videos like this. I'd die happy knowing I worked as hard as I did on my passions. Here's to 100 subscribers on this channel, and I hope to see all of you around continue enjoying my videos. If you have an anime you'd like to see me review, come drop me a line in my Discord. It's the best way to reach me. And remember to stay cute, stay happy, and stay safe.
Jabroni.